a different thing. First track, it's a rap, no food in the cling. I know your looks ain't everything, there's always more you can bring. But if you know your own fleet, yo, give us a spin. On fleek, repeat. On fleek, on fleek, on fleek, repeat. On fleek.
Roll one, scene one, take one.
Mi nombre es Joan Manuel. Bueno, soy de aquí, de Madrid, y mis padres son de República Dominicana y vivo en Parla. Mi cabello me lo llevo dejando crecer más o menos 3 años. Y bueno, la experiencia más viene siendo porque mis padres siempre han tendido a que tenga el cabello muy corto y al final, bueno, una vez que ya pude, o sea, en plan, como tal no estoy independizado, pero me pude independizar, pues me dejé crecer el cabello más.
My name is Frank Busta, B-U-S-T-A. I am a proud Miami native right now, but I also have roots in Cuba and Nigeria and Spain. I speak English and Spanish. Spanish, I understand it fluently and I can speak it near fluently, but you know, being in America for so long definitely affects the accent a little bit. So, you know, for the first 20 years of my life, I was very much only a musician, starting off with piano and violin, and eventually picking up guitar and drums. And then a year and a half ago, I picked up this hobby called cardistry, where it's, you know, fancy manipulation of the cards, card flourishes, like different twists and flips of the packets. These different hobbies just kind of give me like a deeper joy and allow me to like see that I'm capable of more than I thought. I remember I had a friend who had his hair out, and I had never really seen black hair demonstrated that way, right? It was always, you know, people either would straighten it or just braid it down, and that was it. And so when when I saw it like in real life, you know, in front of me, I was like, okay, like maybe that's something I could do. Like maybe I don't have to cut my hair. Maybe I could grow it out and see what becomes of it. And I realized in that process of growing my hair, there were definitely trials and errors, and you know, learning how to manage my hair, because it can be very sensitive sometimes. But I found more of myself, you know, through that. I found empowerment. I found solidarity. I found others that would welcome me and accept me even with this hair. And in that same light, I've also seen some opposition. You know, I've seen people, you know, talk bad about me or tell me good luck getting a job, or you know stuff like that. And I don't know, it runs deeper than that. With my hair, I feel comfortable. I feel powerful. I feel like Samson in the Bible, you know.
And then once I get to work, I can do normally 4 to 6 clients a day. And then after work is when I usually sit down, go home, get dinner, and I will do my homework. And I just restart the day just like that. Hi, my name is Day, and I am from Miami, Florida. And I am a senior student at the University of Central Florida and a hairstylist. It's my only job. It's what pays for everything. I enjoy it though. I feel like it was like more of a hobby turned into a job that now I come to work. I feel like I have amazing coworkers, so it kind of makes everything that much easier. My clientele is amazing. Like I've got to build really good relationships with them. So even though it's full time, it don't feel like it. It genuinely don't. So I do braids, locks, twists, plaits, and so forth, but usually on natural hair, meaning no extensions added. However, I've recently gotten a little more into like doing hair with extensions. I've always knew how to do hair with extensions. It's just not my preference overall because I feel like if your hair isn't taken care of, you know, from the root, no matter what you add to it, it's still not going to be healthy. I'm not going to lie. My mom, she stayed with my hair done. And I'm so happy because I have a little sister now who stays with her hair done too. And it's because these protective styles, they're also like an amazing art form. Like you have so many designs, so many, it's like constantly evolving all the time. The hard part about being a hairstylist, you always got to learn something new. But that's also so much fun because like there's so much creativity that it comes with. To see that styles from when I was younger, like braids just going straight back, like we still got braids going straight back, but we don't add a little stitch to them and everything. They're cleaner, they're neater, like they're better. And I love seeing that all the time because as like Black people, we're constantly evolving, and I can see that even when it comes to my craft.
Cuesta mucho encontrar a un barbero de confianza que nos corte bien el pelo y tenga confianza con nosotros. Y empecé a cortar el pelo, bueno, me empecé a cortar yo el pelo solo. Y empecé y hasta el día de hoy. Yo trabajo con todo tipo de pelo, la verdad, no digo no a nada. Bueno, tuve una experiencia con un niño, era etíope, era un niño adoptado, que me acuerdo mucho de él y me acuerdo de la situación porque como al ser adoptado sus padres eran blancos y no sabían tratar el pelo rizado. Entonces tenía dreads por toda la cabeza y fue como, oh, no, en serio. Y tuve que arreglarlo, no sé cómo lo hice, pero lo hice. Y me acuerdo mucho por eso, porque es algo que tuve que enseñar a la madre también, tuve que enseñarle al niño también, esa conciencia, esa manera de tener que peinarse, tener que cuidarse. O sea, fui como, por 2 horas fui padre. Este pelo es cultural, es algo que tenemos que tener conciencia también y tenemos que estar orgullosos de ello. Entonces creo que tanto familiares como celebrities, como cualquier persona negra, tiene que dar esa conciencia y ese valor a nuestro pelo para que también pueda, bueno, a día de hoy ya es mucho mayor la conciencia sobre este pelo y sobre lo cultural, pero hace 10 años no era así. Todo es Instagram, todo es cualquier cantante. Por ejemplo, los braids se han puesto súper de moda. Drake las ha llevado, Kendrick Lamar las ha llevado, ha estado Travis, ha estado... Man, todo el mundo ahora con braids. De repente mañana, qué sé yo, Drake otra vez vuelve a hacerse waves, todo el mundo con waves. Es así, es como que obviamente lo que pasa en casa es algo que te influencia mucho, pero sobre todo lo que pasa alrededor, o sea, tipo algún influyente como cualquier cantante o cualquier, qué sé yo, Michael B. Jordan también, por ejemplo, un actor, no sé, obviamente ellos tienen mucha más influencia sobre muchísima gente que cualquier otro, ¿sabes? Que tu padre o que tu madre o lo que sea.
Being from 2 different cultures, I would say, has meant that I've always felt sort of in between 2 different ways of life. One being the Nigerian culture that my parents have sort of passed down onto both me and my brother. And then the second being the typical British culture and lads kind of culture, which I'm also a part of. And at the same time, the kind of humor that I use around the house with my family wouldn't translate to my white friends who I've grown up with. At one point, maybe in like year 10 to 11, I started to grow my hair out and wanted to grow it like pretty long and then get it twisted and stuff. So I did twists for a little bit. I remember on my last day of year 11 finished my exams and everything, I went and I got like the highest skin fade I could possibly get. And I looked like Fresh Prince. The school didn't really like people getting super high skin fades. So, and that had always been a struggle for black people because black people tend to only look good with skin fades. You know, white people can get away with just a 1 or a 2 or whatever. Well, Dad had taught himself to cut his own hair when he was younger, I think before he was married. And he even mentioned to myself and my brother about how he cut his hair on his wedding day.
The amount of hair I keep now wasn't the way I used to keep it. I used to keep it low, and then my sons decided they wanted to grow an afro. And as they started to grow an afro, I thought, okay, that would be great. Let me give that a go. And at that period, we were going to the barbers. So I used to cut my hair myself, and I didn't know how to cut or manage long hair. When I say long hair, afro hair.
I think as a woman, we quite often have different defining moments with our hair. I've never really had very thick hair, but when I felt pregnant with the children, my hair really blossomed and grew really nice. I think the hormones were really good for me, and my hair looked very luscious, and I was able to I kept it low during that time because I go through seasons where I want a different style, I want a different look. And I've always had that. So maybe I might grow my hair for a period of time, and then other periods where I might think, actually, you know, this is the look I want, you know, shorter hairstyle.
I remember when my dad would invite the barber to come cut our hair, and I would run away and sometimes wet my hair because I knew his clippers couldn't cut my hair when it's wet, and how he would report me to my dad, and I will get
A telling off.
a good telling off. Now, the reason I didn't want to cut my hair was because we had the Americans, musicians, who with their afro, was like that was what you wanted, without understanding how much they'd done to actually keep that hair and look after it. So I would see situations where I want to keep my hair, but I actually don't actually comb it, and it becomes very difficult for my mom to comb.
Tangled.
All tangled when it's time to go to school. So it just looked unkempt. And for that reason, it was easier for my parents to manage by just shaving off as much as they could, which hurt me because I've just grown it just a bit over the summer, and then you're going back to school, and then you go, you know, with your skinny head, and you're thinking, oh man.
We're having jollof rice, salad, and there's chicken.
And there's dodo.
And there's dodo. A little bit more jollof rice.
Well, did we have another jar? That one once upon a time.
Yeah, bro.
Oh, yeah.
I think I left it in the freezer.
Ah. You wanted to cool it before dinner.
And then overnight, 2 days later.
When I was younger, the thought of cutting all of my hair off always felt like a bad thing, because I think it was always suggested as a punishment by my dad, being like, you know, if you do bad in school or if you misbehave, then I'll just shave off all your hair. Also because I used to not look after my hair whilst it was growing out, so it would look messy, and it would say, okay, if you can't manage it, we're just going to shave it all off. So I was always kind of afraid of having like no hair or like short hair, because it was like the punishment. But now it's ironic because I now just choose to have short hair, and I probably will have short hair for a long time. It takes a lot of precision, especially trying to get the right viewing angles with like a mirror. So that takes a lot of time. When I started out, it was taking me like 3 hours, maybe even more sometimes, to cut my own hair, and then get in the shower afterwards, and all of that just adds up. So yeah, time, it definitely takes longer. But I've gotten to the point now where I'm like I've perfected how I cut my own hair now, and I don't even think a barber is going to do much of a better job.
This is honey. So I like the way my hair's fluffy, and my hair's long. So it's curly, soft, all these stuff. I like it, and I'm happy that it's a part of my body. 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Don't touch my hair! I'm not touching your hair! I would guess like 100. 150. I've done like ponytails with braids. My mum has done mostly some of them. So my favorite style. So do you know here? So there's like a design here, but like a fire design. I think hair is alive because if you like shave your hair, it will grow. No, never ever in my life stopped. Mine has not stopped. And it never stopped. It will stop probably when you turn into a grandma or something. So you have your hair, you have like braids or if straight hair, and then you pack one here, and then you pack the other one here. That's what pigtails are. In 50 years, I think it will look like, not like my dad, it might be a tiny bit grey.
Where did you learn bombastic silence?
I don't even know. Some people just even start making it up, and I'm like, oh, what does bombastic silence? I always knew that. What does it even mean?
I don't even know what it means.
A lot of Nigerians were given scholarships to go abroad to go and study medical doctors, engineers, and so on and so forth. And my father, who had a passion for music, was given a scholarship to go to Manchester to go and study music. And so when he studied music, him and another graduate of music came back from the Royal School of Music and applied for the position of the director of music of the Nigerian Army. My father got that job. However, he believes that he wasn't the better musician because the person who he had interviewed with, the other interviewee, was the renowned Fela Anikulapo-Kuti. So over the years, I would ask my father the question, why do you think you got the job if he was a better musician? And my father said, well, Fela had always had a very radical mindset. And so while I was in school, I'd sort of studied martial music, classical music, and so on and so forth. When they were asking questions about the kind of music that they thought that I was looking to bring, I just told them everything that I had studied. Well, Fela said he wasn't going to hang around playing the white man's stuff. My father conformed to something, got the job. Fela did not conform to that said thing, went on to be one of the most radical minds the country had ever seen. And so imagine me being raised by that man who conformed to how he was going to wear his hair. In the Nigerian army, you weren't allowed to wear a beard. All those things were defined by the Western powers. So me being raised by that, my hair being cut every 2 months or thereabout, was being decided not by my father, but by the people who had shaped my father's mind and who had defined who my father would be. So a certain culture now became more popular, and people could now jump in, appropriate that culture, and make money from it. Even though the popular culture itself is not making money from it, right? It's still part of the white privilege conversation. Somebody who was born and raised in Manchester, who's Caucasian, of Caucasian descent, decides to go put braids in his hair and wear his hair in dreads, and then speaks with a certain lingo. People will give him clicks and likes on the internet. just because, wow, that's cool. I'm not sure why that is. There's a way that it can be done, and it can be done as respect or as an ode to who you're copying that thing from. Or you can take it and say, well, this is mine now because I'm doing it. And that's where the problem comes, right? I think it's the way that it's done, because humanity, we're always sharing anyway.
Yo trenzo nocles, trenzo las trenzas timinis, que son las pegadas, de todo tipo, con diseño y sin diseño. Lo que es en sí el mundo de trenzado, me dedico a ello. Lo único que no hago son las rastas. Son esas que no hago, que aún estoy practicando y a ver cómo me van a salir. Nadie me enseñó, yo con mirar y verlo me gustaba y ahí empecé a practicar. Y todo lo nuevo que ha salido ahora ha sido mirándolo, informándome, viéndolo y todo eso. Al final es una forma de enseñar nuestra cultura hacia la gente que quiere aprender o quiere saber de ello. Siempre digo lo mismo, de no compito con nadie. Las personas que vienen a mí es porque les ha gustado mi mano, que es mi forma de trenzar. A ver, el cabello afro, no debería ser algo de otro mundo, ¿sabes? El cabello afro es un cabello más, que es, dependiendo de la raza que seas, es diferente. Entonces, nuestro cabello es diferente a ser africana o a ser raza negra en sí. Tenemos el cabello más rizado. Es porque también depende del sitio donde has nacido. Entonces, donde haya más sol, se riza más para protegernos y no dañarnos. Entonces, es algo cultural de, si estudias, entenderás que es por esto. Como mucho ha pasado de me tengo que ir a un trabajo y no puedo ser como soy porque no está bien visto. Esa soy yo. Entonces, los sitios que yo voy, yo llevo mi afro porque esa soy yo. No tengo que alisarme el pelo para que me cojan en un sitio. Entonces, yo a esos sitios yo no iría. El cabello afro me representa de dónde soy y quién soy. Entonces, yo soy africana y tengo el cabello afro. No hay mucho más que decir. Y es que es así.
That's how I really like with dreads. Dreads is basically dead hair that looks good to me. J. Cole?
Yeah, man.
That's crazy. A dude said that to me not too long ago. You can't grow dreads back home?
I wouldn't dare, bro.
Stereotypical thing?
Yeah,
all right.
stereotype.
But that's what y'all gotta break it. You gotta break it. So you doing something good, you should be the person to wear the dreads to show that, hey, I'm not that. You feel what I'm saying? You gotta take the R-I-S-K, you feel me, the way. You feel me? That's the best way to go. Hair, to me, symbolize everything about you. You feel me? It tells a person about you. That's how I really feel about hair. Like, with the haircut with me, I can still rock my hair how I would like it. And then a person probably can understand and decipher my lifestyle through my hair. So that's what I feel about hair, for real. That's the dead hairs with some of the dead dirt that never came all the way thoroughly out. Now in the split, I'm gonna put it back together. Now with dreads, it's like a little love-hate thing, you know? It really, I think it depends on the person's face. Like my grandfather and probably your grandfather told you, if you present yourself well, you can always have a job. It's the truth. You can be the man that sleeps on this bench. A person might not even know, but because you look so presentable, you know, they approach you. That's what it is. You're approachable. The dope dealer look like you. The dude that work in tech look like you now. The rapper look like you. Same thing with your dog coat. Same thing. You feel me? With any type of fur hair. Feel me? Your dog gonna adjust to the preppiness if you got a poodle and you got the fluff balls at the end and the coat cut, and then you feel me? It's gonna, all right, I look like this. You're gonna walk past the mirror and see itself. I work at the strip club. Girl might come with long hair one day, the next day short. This day she nice, the next day she mean. Hair is everything. It really defines you. It really lets a person know what you are about. You feel me?
Por ejemplo, el dominicano dice mucho que el pelo rizado es malo. Y es como, ¿por qué es malo? Sí, ¿por qué tiene de malo nuestro pelo? ¿Por qué le llamáis pelo malo a ello? Yo el mensaje que siempre intento decir es como respetar y trabajar desde ese respeto a esa persona y a ese pelo, porque no culturalmente nos han educado de una manera que no es.
La verdad que bueno, que al final pues que seas libre de cómo te sientes y bueno, que demuestres al mundo realmente de dónde vienes, cómo eres y que seas tú mismo.
It's not just hair on top of my head. It's a part of my life. It's a part of my culture. It's a part of the way I present it. It's the way that I shape it and everything that also gives me life.
You know, someone told me this some years ago, and I keep it fresh to my mind, is that, you know, our outer expression is a reflection of our inner selves. And like the stronger we connect that, you know, I feel like the stronger we'll be in life.
Yes, I use my hair to make a statement. Most people will not admit it, but they are using their hair to make a statement. There are some who are not doing anything with their hair, and they think because they're not doing anything with their hair, they're not making a statement. That is the statement. I don't care. Is the statement. Now, there are those who want their hair in a way that will make the society turn and look, thinking, whoa, that's a very pink color. That's a statement. And there are those who are wearing their hair to the best of their ability to bring the most out of their look, so that people turn and look and say, you're very good looking. That's also making a statement. And I want to identify with those who are doing the best with what they have or not have to be as attractive as humanly possible. Now, the extreme of that is to make that your identity, where you worship, as it were, or you make that look more important than who you are on the inside. But if you use it, as Dupe said earlier, the word tool, as a cover of the book, while you add value to who you are on the inside. So if you use it as a tool, fantastic. Either you use it to catch attention for a statement you need to make politically or whatever, or you use it as an attraction so they could read who you are, that's fantastic. But if you are a person who thinks that you are your cover and identify yourself by the cover of the book, then that's shallow and that's not worth living for.